says that if someone's in a public place, as this was, they're doing something, walking up the stairs, walking out of the bathroom, and they couldn't expect other people to be able to see them, as you could here, it's a beer garden, then in those circumstances, they can be filmed. You don't have to be party to it. You can be across the other side of the beer garden and you could film someone walking up the stairs out of the bathroom. So yeah, there's no issue as far as I can see with the filming or the publication of it.
Because Ms. Aston has said that she said the women who filmed her means that she's been the subject of immense ridicule. They've provided hateful commentary. They've put my reputation in jeopardy, and she wants to take them to court. I mean, does she have any grounds to do that?
Well, so there's a couple of things here. Firstly, her comments obviously proceed on the basis that what was said in the video, what people said was happening in the bathroom was not happening. So let's just accept her version of events for the moment. I don't know what was or was not happening, but let's accept her version of events for the moment. I don't think there's anything illegal about or unlawful about recording it or publishing it. The question then is, if it's not true, if she wasn't doing anything inappropriate in the bathroom, then arguably what was said was a defamation, and she could sue potentially for defamation. I see. But I don't think so it's a civil claim that might arise in defamation. I don't think, and people talk about cyberbullying, that's usually got to be under the criminal law. It's got to be a course of conduct. So if someone sends you 100 text messages today, Tom, or over the weekend, abusing you or what have you, well, that would be illegal. But as I understand it, the people who filmed this only sent one or maybe two messages, not to either Wayne Carey or this woman, but to someone else, and then it's gone viral. In those circumstances, I don't think it's a criminal issue, a criminal cyberbullying either.
One of the comments, and look, I'm just going to paraphrase this, that the woman filming makes is, oh, she looks embarrassed, as in Ms. Aston looks embarrassed. Is that enough? I mean, making that observation, is that the sort of thing that could, that could be a defamation?
No, that's not the issue. I mean, firstly, that someone might be embarrassed. It's not defamatory. Like it doesn't. If you said of me that I look embarrassed as I stand here in my office in the city, that nobody thinks anything less of me for that. What they might think less of you for is if it's said of you that you did something inappropriate in the bathroom.
Right.
And that's what Wayne Carey and Miss Aston say was said about them, and they say it's not true. And if it can be proved that it was said about them and that it's not true, then at least you've got an argument now that it might be a defamation. There's a whole lot of other boxes you'd have to tick before you actually win a case, but it's arguable.
Yeah, and the problem is, I mean, if they're the only two in the toilet, well, no one can prove or disprove what they did, I mean, other than them. But here's just one more question. I mean, Wayne Carey, if I can put it bluntly, has sort of, how should we say, form in this area. We don't know what he did. I'm not alleging he did anything this time, but you could argue his reputation has already been quite damaged in the past. Does this, if it damages his reputation more, does that mean he can sue these people?
You could argue, Tom, that it's nobody else's business, even though, anyway, the reason I let that play was just because that started with surveillance laws, and basically it just ascertained through an expert that while you're out in the public, you are free domain. Anybody can film anybody, bar children, I believe. I don't even know those specifics, but basically in the public, people can film. People could, mid-stalk, people could film up my driveway and then try and use what they saw in the driveway to try and pretend we're watching you and play their little cooked games. What they couldn't do, which they did do, was use surveillance equipment, like police surveillance equipment, like high-end phone hacks, surveillance equipment plants in. I mean, you can go on Wish now and buy $2.25 a fake camera in a deodorant bottle. You wouldn't know the difference. So they've got all manner of little gadgets, but for them to abuse that and then circulate what they saw and heard is a weaponized sex offense. So these beasts used a weaponized sex offense to try to ridicule Michael Califf to get at me. No, not to solve crimes, not because I was a big time drug dealer or anything, because I dared to question the rock apes. Well, let me tell you why, when they started tuning into me, why they got a little bit like, right, we're going to have to really lift the level on this. I tried to run this the other day, but it got me that angry. It just turned into like abuse and name dropping and anger. But I'll try and get through it today. So basically, there's a well-known corrupt police station. There's more than one, okay? But there's a well-known corrupt police station that a commissioner in the state of Victoria even said openly, you can smell the stench from here. They've made reference to it publicly. Let's just put it. Yesterday I tried doing this, but I ended up dropping names and just going a bit hard and swearing, and it wouldn't have come across very well. So let's try and keep in the game, Mikey. So anyway, there's this well-known corrupt police station. Then when I tripped and landed in the gutter, for lack of a better way to word it, but my drug addiction and homelessness and just fresh out of jail led me to the red light district where this well-known corrupt station happens to be. There's a well-known corrupt cop who's on every low-level drug dealer. You know, the type where that beautiful 19-year-old Isla Bell, that lost soul who lost her life far too young, the type of scumbag piece of shit drug dealer that she would have been hanging around, that type of low-level scumbag, he will proudly, or she will proudly, like, air raid boast the name of this corrupt copper, like being in with this cowboy, being in with this piece of dirt, because the corrupt coppers are the lowest. When it comes to the dodginess, corrupt police are the lowest. They belong in a cell with a pedophile, okay? There's no two ways about it. They are power abusers, disgusting. They're filthy animals. There is no lower, bar a pedophile, than a corrupt copper, okay? Now, they've got their power and they abuse it. Disgusting quality in any human being. So anyway, there's this well-known corrupt cop who all these low-level three-teeth drug dealers are boasting, like, yeah, I'm in with such and such, yeah, like wearing it like a badge of honor. There was even one story, I kid you not, where this wannabe Al Capone, who was selling all his heroin for about 3 weeks, thinking he's hitting a bit, was getting conned because some other group said, hey bro, I'm in with this corrupt cop, give me X amount of money each week and I'll make sure you're sweet. So here's this peanut waltzing around down there thinking, yeah, I'm in with copper, I'm in with such and such, I'm sweet, palming drugs left, right and centre, just thinking he's got the full grant. It's bonkers. Right, that's a bad enough situation in itself, correct? Well, this well-known corrupt copper, I've got to move it over here, so you're going to have to get half steering wheel. No, you can stay over there, why not? This well-known corrupt copper is then, coincidentally, about the same time, what's happened? The rise of AI bot technologies happened. Now you might think, oh, AI bot technology, chatbot. You either think Siri, hey, play the music, play Stairway to Heaven, Siri. No. I'm talking about aggravating, head-doing bots designed by the likes of the feds, the CIA, Mossad, to be a pain in the butt, to do your head in, basically. Well, this well-known corrupt copper thought he's going to have a bit of fun with these wannabe Al Capones down there that he's got on a string. So what happens is he gets one, fresh out of prison, spiked up hair, G-stars, this, that, wants to be the next, he's palming 50ml juice bottles in the shard and puffing on and thinks he's hitting a bit. Already this guy is a fragile nutcase in itself, right? Let alone when he gets a well-known corrupt copper who's got his little aggravating technology, chatbot technology, and he then puts it in his phone and bails the person, thinks like, yeah, we'll watch him just run around, and they called it sport. When they were doing it to me, having sport with someone. Well, hang on, this sport, right, this well-known corrupt copper has then led to a situation where innocent people, somebody's doing donuts in the middle of our once beautiful city, Melbourne, and he's about to barrel down, running over all manner of innocent people, isn't he? Now do you see why you even know of Michael Caliph's existence? These people, Victoria needs a royal commission. This is why it's not just like, oh yeah, who cares? Just a scumbag criminal. Like, this is it. Now you go, all right. So they made a mistake. They had some new technology. They were trialing it. It got out of hand. They stuffed up. Well, they put that to bed, surely. No, mate. 7 years after that, and a lot of time of breaking laws set out to protect us from Nazi Germany later, I kid you not, this is Victoria, Australia. 7 years later, I'm on an order, very intensive order for non-violent crimes. You can run around with machetes, run through people's homes, terrorising them, you'll be bailed. But if you're a non-violent, petty, drug-addicted offender who dares challenge them, oh boy, they're going to watch you. They're going to spend resource after resource on you. Anyway, so I'm on this very intensive order. The only way I can escape being tortured in a prison cell, literally, is to take this order. No problem. I'll tough it out this time. Not only will I tough it out, I'm going to document it, and I'm going to put this to bed, what was happening to me. So what ends up happening, there's a well-known violent offender who I knew from prison. He's also on the order with me. He's a bit older than me, and he is genuinely trying to turn his life around. Just, look, I just made some bad mistakes when I was younger. Most of his bad mistakes, even though he was a well-known violent offender, most of them were inside prison or against, they didn't affect the public. But that aside, I don't even want to get into that. So then this well-known violent offender, like there's no way you could know this offender and not know he hasn't got priors for lashing out violently. He's on the same order where I'm learning the ins and outs and ups and downs about this aggravating bot technology that our finest in Australia are using completely illegally to just play sport with people, do the heads in of people and just sit back and go, hey, look at that, nutcases. Anyway, so these people could never have expected this happening. So don't forget, this is 7 years after those unsightly bollards have been put up all around Melbourne to protect the citizens from the true villain is still amongst you, believe me. So anyway, they put their bollards up 7 years later. You think, yeah, okay, well, this technology, they might have just stuffed up and got their head around it. Okay, they do a tough job. The most of them are good, decent people doing a tough job. Yeah, okay. We'll give them the benefit of the doubt for that. So then 7 years later, I'm on this order with this well-known violent offender. And he comes, I'm seeing him out the front. I'm just trying to do what I have to do what I'm doing now. And he comes up to me. I'm seeing him out the front, you know, blah, 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 of this office. And he comes up to me with the most paranoid, rattled look on his face. Like, this guy, you can tell, like he's wigging out. You can tell he's just something's getting at him. Well, he's I need to get a gun. Someone's fucking with me. Somebody's fucking with me. I need a gun. I'm thinking, what? And he's trying to use his phone, and none of the buttons are working. Of course they're not, because these masterminds in the Victorian state government have put their little head doing hack in his phone, haven't they? So he passes me the phone. I'm trying to open it, it's not working. Trying to use the keyboard. No doubt he's also getting the chatbot technology come from it, and that involves just basically using voice synthesizers to replicate the voices of people you've been speaking to or talking to on the phone or whatnot, and then using it against you. Like, so you would basically, along the lines of this, you'd talk to someone on the phone, and then your little voice synthesizer / chatbot technology will then have your phone replaying those voices, but like saying horrible things. So it like, of course it makes people paranoid, because they think, hang on, I was just nice to this guy. They don't know who to trust. Okay, it's basically a way of wigging people out. Well, these masterminds in the Victorian state government who have already killed innocent people with this little trick of theirs, have already killed innocent people, are now using it on this very, very intensive order. And this guy, this well-known violent offender, comes up to me. Hey, I need a gun. He's wigging out, and I realise I'm trying to explain to him, mate. It's them. It is them. You're on this order. It's them. I can't. There's no getting sense to them. That's how rattled this technology, this gadget, this hack, this bot gets them. Hang on, it gets worse. Within 1 week of that incident, of me seeing the guy in that state, what happened? There's now news reports, so it's all verifiable, it's all documentable. Within 1 week of that, this well-known violent offender is on the news for lashing out and stabbing an innocent member of the public, and very, very nearly putting an axe, no, not a machete, an axe, over the head of the brave, unsuspecting first responders. Now you tell me, under this government's watch, under these geezers, these Gestapo-like rock apes, you tell me we don't need an investigation, an all-encompassing investigation into this government, and a big clean out of our bureaucracy. Now, when you think, oh yeah, so what, it just affects criminal, no, it doesn't. This is the thing. It directly, that type of Neanderthal-like management in our most important of important departments is directly responsible for what? For things like record-setting crime stats. But wait, it gets worse. You've got the steak knives coming too, girlfriend. It is also responsible for, there's a potholed road here, no, I'm not in a tram, I'm driving, yeah, no, not in a tram. So it's also the same template skeleton, the same level of mismanagement and ass covering that allows for what? That's right, pedophiles to sweep their way through the bureaucracy and not get called out for fear of either A, being seen as a bigot of sorts, or B, embarrassing them through that mismanagement and getting voted out at the next election. I understand the average person, yeah, no worries, whatever, like, just, you've got lives to live, you've got mortgage to pay, you've got people to get to, children to get to school. I don't know what the answer to it all is. All I know is this government, it has to start with voting this government out. Because this government 100% allowed for it. This government installed IBAC, the Independent Broad-Based Anti-Corruption Unit, will share, in time I'll share my messages I sent while I was on this order, having my head done in, having my private life aerated to the public to try and ridicule me and try and ruin my reputation because I dared question the system. I'll share you the emails I was sending to IBAC surrounding abuse of children, surrounding that type of thing, names, people that were clearly involved, places where hidden cameras were in urine testing rooms. I mean, put it this way, you're not allowed to have surveillance cameras in a urine testing room. That is why there's a person monitors you. This has clearly got a two-way mirror in it. Now, you go, well, hang on, so what, right? These are trusted people, so what? I'll tell you why, so what? Because the same, well, let me give you a quick story. If an inmate wants to groom a prison officer to get them to kick contraband, to get them to bring in drugs, narcotics, tobacco, whatever, you know what they do? This is a tried and true, no talking out of school. What they do is they'll say, hey, geez, we can't get chewing gum in jail. Could you bring me some chewing gum? Oh, wow, I wish we could get that magazine. So what happens is the young, often female prison officer brings in some chewing gum. Bang. You've instantly got that person breaking the law. Brings in a magazine. You've instantly got that person in a position. So then it turns from, a magazine to, hey, I wouldn't mind, like, you couldn't get me, I saw that Nestle Cadbury blah, blah, blah chocolate. We can't get that in here. I wouldn't mind one of them. That. Then it turns to, hey, I'll just get my mate to drop you off a USB full of movies. Boom. What about a USB full of movies and a couple of smokes? And that's how it all happens. The reason I say that is because if you allow for any breaking of laws at that level, hidden cameras in surveillance testing rooms, if you basically allow for the breaking of the processes and procedures at any level, then it just tick, 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 tick. It's only going to snowball into a much, much, much worse situation. Anyway, rant over for that one, but I'll carry on for another one. I hope you want to lift your game, Victorian government. Wrong. Bye.